Me and a couple of my friends who are actually in the audience, we had the good fortune of being able to work with Mark Ribot in a workshop in New York. And one of the things that he stressed a lot was being able to find, in whatever music you listen to that you enjoy, you should be able to find a groove, whether it be free or pop music or jazz or funk or whatever. And so with that idea in mind, I was just wondering if you find it more challenging to find the groove or the swing in free music or funk music, or in contrasting into, say, Paris Hilton or something like that.
I'm so regretful I brought that name up. We have a moratorium on that name now for the rest of the. Well, no. I mean, I sort of alluded to it earlier. Like it's, music or a painting or a movie or anything or a person speaks to you or it doesn't speak to you. And I think that groove, and maybe this is what you're saying, goes beyond like the actual drum kit groove. It's like, does it, do you feel all kind of bubbly inside when you listen to it, or just something kind of rocking in there? That's the real groove for me, and it can be, like for me, there's a heavy groove in stuff that has no actual technical groove per se. Like, one of the greatest compositions ever, Garecki's Symphony No. 3, the Sorrowful Songs. The opening of that thing has the sickest groove, but there's no, you couldn't drum to it. Again, it's got to speak to you. And I have learned the hard way, because when I've said yes to stuff that I don't find that groove with, I suck at it. I can't do anything to make it sound good. I can't. And I think what Mark was saying to you is right. Like it's gotta sound, it's gotta feel good to you, which it's gotta be true for you. And you start there, and that's your own barometer. And if it sounds good to you, guaranteed somebody, maybe a zillion people, maybe 5 people, I don't know, someone else is gonna feel that truth kind of resonating in it too, which is really important. There's an artist here in Toronto, I'm not sure if he's still doing stuff, but his name is Mendelssohn Joe, and I remember hearing him say, "If you screw your art, it'll screw you." So you got to respect it, and listen for the groove, as it were.
Thanks.
Sure. Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you a question about Paris Hilton.
Oh.
No, I'm joking, of course.
She's actually no.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you obviously get like a little nervous, or I don't know if this is just a way to talking about being nervous. I don't know if that's just a way to relax yourself in front of the audience or what. But
spastic.
Okay, so this is all completely genuine.
It's all an act.
Nerve-wracking.
No, you're right. It's
nerve-wracking stuff. Okay, how do you get over that when you're working with like heavy dudes and stuff, right?
Well, Paris doesn't make me nervous.
No, okay, like maybe some other names you draw.
No, that's not true.
Not referring
that's
to
not
Paris
true. I was nervous to meet her just because of the media machine around her. She's definitely one of the world's most famous people, so it was a little weird to have her walk into my studio and like, there you are. I don't really get I get really nervous around Stuart Copeland.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
I can't get over it, frankly. I can't. And I've had so many people say, "You just got to get over it."
Yeah, because it's going to affect your work.
Totally.
Right.
Yes.
Like, because I don't know how to get. Like, I get nervous every time I go to my ensembles and stuff, and I'm getting to know the people in them. I'm getting to know my teachers, but still, I continue to have this sort of.
That's good though.
It is, but how do you get it to a point where it doesn't? Affect you?
That's a great question. It's a great question. There is one of my favorite book titles is this guy written by Alan Watts, who's this phenomenal man. He's written all kinds of great books, one of which is called The Book. I highly recommend it. It's a great read. Anyway, he wrote a book called The Wisdom of Insecurity. It's a great title. And that nervousness is coming from, you should be nervous. You should, not to the point of being catatonic where you can't function, But if you weren't nervous, that would be bizarre, right? You'd be like, I know what I'm doing. I mean, I think the minute you feel you know what you're doing, you're dead. So it's okay to be a ball of nerves. I mean, I'm mostly talking here. I'm way more confident when I'm actually doing music, sort of in my sandbox, in my element. I haven't done a lot of this. I haven't done a lot of speaking in front of people. So it's just something I'm not accustomed to. It brings up more of the spastic neuroses in me than I would normally have on a day-to-day basis in the studio. But it's good. It means you care. You're nervous because you give a shit. That's why you're nervous, right? You want to do a good job. You're not walking in there thinking, I don't care how I do. If you really didn't care, you wouldn't be nervous. So it's coming from the right place.
Cool. Thank you.
Stay nervous.
Hi.
Hi, Jason.
I know you mentioned about the dancer quote, the Martha lady, and I was just wondering, from when you were at Humber and when you were interested in music, to get where you are today, like how much was it you went out and found, like I read on the sheet about a songwriters clinic here and in songwriting, how much was it that you went out to find these things, and how much was it like, you said Leyland Sklar or whatever, invited you, like, I know there's a balance between getting into things by chance and being prepared for them, like what are your thoughts on how much you should be driving towards something or how much you should be like open to your own? I don't really have a question.
I think I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's no job application, right, to do what any of us do. I walked into it backwards, and none of it was given to me. Zero. I come from no money at all. I come from no one that was ever connected to any faction of the entertainment business. It was all a great mystery. I really felt like it was on Mars. For me, it was on Mars, and occasionally we'd get the TV station from Mars, and so I would see it, and I would think, I'd really like to do that, but I can't get to Mars. I never for a second thought, even when I was here, didn't think that I'd be able to do what I'm doing right now. And you really have to create it. I mean, Lee Sklar was really helpful to me in the beginning in Los Angeles in terms of being a session musician and, put me on the front line in front of Ahmet Erdogan, who's worked with the best musicians in the world. And I was in the room with the best musicians in the world. And, it's like when you hear about a young actor who gets to work opposite someone like Robert De Niro or Al Pacino, they say it was sort of effortless because those guys are so good. Or like playing hockey with Wayne Gretzky, if anyone would ever be so lucky. You play the best game you've ever played because you're surrounded by people that are just so much better than you. And it kind of lifts you. It's like, it's like being on a great team. Let me get back to the actual answer to your question. You got to do it for yourself. Yeah. It's been a hell of a fight for me, and it's good because it gives you chops. It gives you survival chops. I know lots of people, especially in Los Angeles, that have really wealthy parents, and a lot of my competition have actually been given a career. I mean, here, son, here's my Neve console. I'm serious. These are guys I'm up against. And they're talented guys, but it's been easy, I'm not going to mention any names, but I know someone whose father's a very successful manager, and his son is a really successful producer, and the majority of the acts managed by his dad. So if you're lucky enough to be in that position, nepotism works really well in the music business. It does. It works. Because it's a small business, it's hard to get into, it's hard to make any kind of living at it. I had none of those benefits, and I honestly believe that it's not a benefit at the end of the day. I think you grow way, way, way more when you got to kick and scream and fight your way up the perceived mountain.